11 News starts with breaking news.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Ryan Houston. Channel 11 starts with breaking news. In the last hour, the Allegheny County Health Department reported 29 new cases of COVID-19. Those cases come from 690 tests taken between August 17th and yesterday. The health department also reported no new deaths. Fox Chapel students are back in class today, and they have to adjust to more than just new COVID-19 rules and regulations. Channel 11's Liz Kilmer explains the other potential health threat the district is working to minimize.
As districts everywhere worry about the COVID-19 pandemic, the Fox Chapel district had yet another problem to deal with. Bacteria found in the water in several buildings, but still, that didn't stop students from returning to classes today. A long time coming. School buses and parents dropping off kids at the Fox Chapel High School. The district, one of several with a hybrid plan involving in-school and online learning. But as kids adjust to that, the district has been dealt a new issue. Legionella discovered in the water at 4 buildings. The high school, plus O'Hara, Kerr, and Fairview elementary schools. While the bacteria can be dangerous and cause Legionnaire's disease, a serious type of pneumonia, district leaders say they contacted health officials and got the green light to still reopen Monday while taking a number of precautions. A letter to families obtained by Channel 11 says the district is doing the following at all of its buildings: heating the water to a high temp, draining the system, and then refilling and flushing it once again. Parent Derek Coatney has a child starting kindergarten this week. He trusts the district has a handle on it.
I mean, these things happen when old buildings or buildings like that aren't used that often. So, I mean, we trust the experts that they flushed the systems this weekend and got calls and, again, plenty of communication. So I think they're doing everything they can, and I think they've got precautions in place for water bottles and things like that. So still sending them, and glad they caught it early.
And the district says that kids can wash their hands, they can use the bathroom, but they're not supposed to be drinking the water. More on that and more on what parents are being asked to do in a report I'm working on for 5. Back to you.
Liz, thank you. Fox Chapel is not the only local school district starting today. This morning, a handful of districts started the new school year both online and in person. Here's a look at the other districts going back. Congrats to them. And several local colleges start today as well. At Cal U, students will learn remotely for the entire fall semester. IUP has some students attending in person and others online. And Washington and Jefferson is entirely virtual for the first 2 weeks before going to a hybrid model. Well, a pair of powerful storms are making their way to the southern part of the U.S. Tropical storm Marco weakened from a hurricane overnight, but still dropped a lot of rain along the Florida Panhandle. In the meantime, Tropical Storm Laura is still gaining strength and could hit the Gulf Coast as a Category 3 hurricane. Severe Weather Team 11 meteorologist Scott Harbaugh joins us now. And how is the radar looking for tonight?
Well, we're looking pretty busy right now across the area. Storm tracker Doppler 11 radar. Numerous showers have begun to pop. The atmosphere rich with moisture right now, and we're starting to see some flashes of lightning in a few spots. You folks in Beaver, you're about to get poured on. Newcastle, you're just coming out of a pocket of some heavier rain. And again, there are some lightning strikes out there, like near Monroeville right now. You can see a couple lightning strikes, and we'll see some lightning over the course of the next couple of hours. Notice how these clusters just kind of fired up within the last hour. Not going to rain everywhere, but most areas, rain is much needed. 83 degrees in downtown Pittsburgh, partly cloudy, but a little muggy right now. Pool forecast this afternoon. You will have to dodge a couple showers and storms. I'm updating Storm Tracker right now to pinpoint where rain is most likely throughout the afternoon and who could see severe weather tomorrow. I have the updated timing for your neighborhood coming up in about 15 minutes.
We'll see you then, Scott. Channel 11 expects to learn more this afternoon about Pittsburgh Pride 2021. The Pittsburgh LGBTQ Coalition is holding a news conference. Channel 11 told you yesterday the Delta Foundation is dissolving. Leaders say the cancellation of Pittsburgh Pride made it impossible for the group to stay afloat. Delta says the Pride Parade typically drew about 250,000 people, and revenue from the event generated 90% of its yearly budget. They are closing after 24 years of supporting LGBTQ people through community events and fundraisers in the Steel City. Watch for new details on Channel 11 News starting at 5. Well, big news in the fight against COVID-19. The FDA gave the green light to start using convalescent plasma to treat patients. President Trump announced the emergency authorization last night, calling it a historic breakthrough. The treatment takes plasma from someone who had COVID-19 and gives it to someone who still has it. The FDA says the treatment may be effective in lessening the severity or shortening the length of COVID-19 illness in some patients.
If the data continue to pan out, 100 people who are sick with COVID-19, 35 would have been saved because of the administration of plasma.
According to the president, 70,000 patients have been treated with this method. Health officials stress this is not a cure.
This convention will come to order.
This morning, the Republicans started their national convention in North Carolina. NBC's Tracy Potts is following it from Washington, where the rest of this week's events are happening.
The Republican convention kicking off in Charlotte today with less than 400 delegates socially distanced, set to officially nominate Donald Trump for president. His chief of staff this morning mum on whether Mr. Trump's acceptance speech is finished.
I could, but I'm not going to.
I'm pleased to make a truly historic announcement.
President Trump with a surprise announcement on a new coronavirus treatment, foreshadowing what Republicans say will be more unexpected moments this week. Speaking tonight, Tim Scott, the Senate's only black Republican, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, Donald Trump Jr., and the St. Louis couple who pulled guns on Black Lives Matter protesters. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers are questioning President Trump's Postmaster General today about making sure mail ballots arrive on time.
Don't come in with major changes that slow down the mail in the middle of a pandemic and right before a major election.
And big news from the White House. Advisor and former Trump campaign chair Kellyanne Conway says she's leaving next month, stepping away from a White House in high gear to focus on her family. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
In the meantime, President Trump's plan to sue Pennsylvania in federal court is on hold. A federal judge put the brakes on the Trump campaign's lawsuit over ballot boxes for the time being. Well, we told you a judge ordered the Republican Party to produce evidence they had a vote-by-mail fraud in the state. Reports say pages of evidence was insufficient. The judge said he considered the arguments and will allow the Pennsylvania state courts to weigh in. Pennsylvania is one of a handful of states that the campaign sued. Protesters upset over a police shooting in Wisconsin took their anger out on businesses. Police say protesters smashed out windows of a handful of stores in Madison. The shooting happened yesterday and it sent one man to the hospital. Relatives say he's in stable condition right now. After word of the shooting spread, crowds quickly gathered. They marched to the police department and then over to the county courthouse. Authorities moved dump trucks into the streets to block the streets, but fires were set inside the dumpsters. The Wisconsin Department of Justice will investigate the shooting. You know, Channel 11 is working to learn more about a deadly shooting in Upper Lawrenceville. Police say it happened about 1 this morning on Kent Way. When first responders got to the scene, they found a man shot several times. He died at the hospital. There were no other victims. And a man is dead after another shooting in Pittsburgh's Northview Heights neighborhood. It happened around 9:30 last night on Penford Street. We're still making calls to see if anyone was arrested. Also, a young man died after a crash at a motocross track. Keith Miller Jr. crashed his off-road Suzuki yesterday afternoon. Officials say the 19-year-old failed to clear a jump. Creekside Motocross posted a tribute to Miller on its Facebook page. The post reads, quote, "Ride in peace." Right now, police are working on a description of the gunman responsible for a deadly Hill District shooting. James Goodwin was shot in the chest early Sunday morning. Police found him along Elmore Street after getting a ShotSpotter alert. When we have that suspect description, we will bring it to you. Switching gears a bit, the head of the U.S. Postal Service is defending his management to a panel of House lawmakers. As our Washington, D.C. correspondent Jacqueline Fell shows us, emotions ran high on Capitol Hill over mail delivery.
Republican lawmakers say Democrats are pushing conspiracy theories about the mail not getting delivered, while Democrats accuse the Postmaster General of intentionally hobbling mail-in ballots and ruining the Postal Service's reputation. There's growing concerns that cost-cutting measures put in place under Louis DeJoy's leadership could jeopardize the agency's ability to effectively serve its customers. DeJoy has eliminated overtime for mail carriers and removed high-speed mail sorting machines and ballot drop boxes. Democrats say it's in order to help President Trump in the November election by deliberately slowing down mail delivery. But DeJoy, a GOP mega donor, adamantly denies political motivations.
I hope we can agree that the financial state of the Postal Service is unacceptable and needs to be fixed.
DeJoy reiterated a lot of what we heard last week at the Senate hearing. He says he's confident the U.S. Postal Service can handle a massive vote-by-mail program in the fall. Reporting outside Washington, Jacqueline Fell, Channel 11 News.
Over the weekend, House lawmakers approved a bill to send $25 billion to the Postal Service and to reverse changes blamed for mail delays. It's not expected to be considered in the Republican-controlled Senate, and the president said he would veto it if it ever made it to his desk. Well, breaking right now, the Republican National Convention is holding its roll call in Charlotte, North Carolina to nominate President Donald Trump. Let's take a listen.
A state that fixed presidents. The state that delivered the president's first victory in 2016. The state where our motto comes from General John Stark, who said, "Live free or die." New Hampshire is the state of such luminaries as Senator Daniel Webster and brave Americans like Krista McAuliffe. We are home to the first American in space, Alan Shepard, and Baseball Hall of Famer Carlton Fisk, whose game-winning home run in the 1975 World Series is remembered as one of the greatest moments in sports history. New Hampshire is known for our maple syrup, comedian Adam Sandler, poet Robert Frost, and New York Times best-selling author Corey Lewandowski. New Hampshire, the state that called the 14th President Franklin Pierce home, and the state of hard-working, God-loving Americans who stand for the flag and kneel only for God. Madam Chairman, I hereby cast all 22 delegates to my friend and the President of the United States, Donald John Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, New Hampshire cast 22 votes to President Donald J. Trump. New Jersey, 49 delegates with the following bound delegates. 49, President Trump.
Madam Secretary, President Trump and Vice President Pence have kept their promises to the American people. And New Jersey's delegation is proud to nominate them for 4 more years. I'm Doug Steinhardt, Chairman of the New Jersey Republican Party. On behalf of the Garden State, proud home of Alice Paul, Thomas Edison, Frank Sinatra, and the beautiful Jersey Shore, I am pleased to announce that New Jersey's 49 delegates are given to Donald J. Trump for President of the United States of America.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of the convention, New Jersey cast 49 votes for President Trump. New Mexico, 22 delegates with the following bound delegates. 22, President Trump.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the good people of the state of New Mexico, a land of blue skies, limitless horizons, and unending vistas, a land where faith, freedom, and family dominate our values. We all saw Mr. Trump come down that escalator, and he gave voice to the fears and anguish that we all felt for this country. And then he began to speak words of strength and purpose, words like courage and liberty, prosperity, truth, hope, and life. And we saw him begin to rebuild this country. And then we saw that rebuilding interrupted by the COVID-19. So now we have a choice to continue the rebuilding, the revival, the renewing of this great land. New Mexico is proud to vote for that renewal, that revival, by casting its 22 votes for Donald J. Trump, the next president of the United States of America.
Pursuant to the announcement of this delegation and the rules and procedures of the convention, New Mexico cast 22 votes for President Trump. New York, 94 delegates with the following bound delegates. 94, President Trump.
Hello, my name's Nick Langworthy. I'm proud to serve as chairman of the New York Republican Party. New York is the proud birthplace of our great president, Donald J. Trump. It is where he raised his family, where he built his business. Our president embodies what it means to be New York tough. And when New York was facing some of its darkest hours a few months ago, our president stepped up and delivered for the people of the state of New York. The sight of the hospital ship USS Comfort sailing into our harbors gave a clear and bold message to the people of our state that our president was there to support us. Even our governor, Andrew Cuomo, congratulated him and thanked him for that tremendous support. And it was a terrible shame last week when that same governor went to his party's convention and lied about our president's leadership in this crisis. But New York is what's in turmoil, from our bloated budget deficits to our economy in free fall. We have crime ravaging our streets. That is what America would see if it allowed Biden-Harris to run this country. We need to send a loud and clear message. New York is proud to stand up and say, thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership for New York. Thank you for keeping fighting for us with that true New York grit. We have your back, and we are proud to cast our 94 delegate votes for our president, Donald J. Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of this delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, New York cast 94 votes for President Donald J. Trump. North Carolina. "71 delegates with the following bound delegates. 71, President Trump."
History is made in North Carolina with our first settlements in the late 1580s and as one of the original 13 colonies. History was made May 20th, 1775 with the Mecklenburg Declaration of Independence, declaring our independence from British rule a full year before the U.S. Declaration of Independence. History was made in 1795 with the first public university in America, the University of North Carolina. Today, it's the home of North Carolina A&T State University, the largest historic black college in America. History was made in 1903 when the Wright brothers, two boys from Ohio, came to the superior climate of North Carolina to try their new flying contraption. History was made in 1922 when WBT became first commercial radio stations in the country and is still broadcasting today just a few miles down the street. History was made in 2010 when, for the first time since the Civil War, Republicans won the control of both the North Carolina House and Senate. And while they inherited close to $6 billion in debt and budget deficits from the Democrats, they quickly turned that into an $11 billion surplus while passing the largest tax cut in North Carolina history. The Carolina comeback is real, and it continues, and it will get better when we elect Dan Forest as our next governor, and we return Senator Tom Tillis to the Senate. And history will be made in 2020 when North Carolina leads the nation in re-electing President Donald J. Trump. North Carolina proudly cast all 71 votes for President Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of this delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, North Carolina cast 71 votes, President Trump. North Dakota, 29 delegates with the following bound delegates. 29, President Trump.
Madam Secretary, my name is John Trandom, Chairman of the North Dakota delegation. North Dakota is home to the biggest Republican in this room, outgoing National Committee woman Sandy Beeler. We're thankful for her service. North Dakota is the safest state in the nation because we respect life, because we value family as the cornerstone of our society, because we support private enterprise, because we exercise our Second Amendment rights, because we stand for our flag, for our military, for our police, and because we prayerfully support our President and Vice President. North Dakota's 29 delegates proudly cast all of their votes for President Donald J. Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules of the procedures of the convention, North Dakota cast 29 votes for President Donald Trump. The Northern Mariana Islands, 9 delegates with the following bound delegates. 9 for President Trump.
Half a day from the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, the only territory with a Republican governor and a Republican majority in our legislature. In early March of 2016, Governor Torres proudly endorsed Donald J. Trump for president, becoming the only territory governor to do so and the 3rd governor nationwide. Unlike previous administrations, President Trump has never turned his back on our islands and our people, almost 8,000 miles away from Washington, D.C. President Trump and his administration have greatly helped us recover from 2 devastating typhoons. Our people are deeply patriotic, and our sons and daughters proudly step up and serve in the U.S. Armed Forces, making us one of the highest per capita in the nation. Tourism is our primary economy, and we strongly encourage everyone to visit our deep blue oceans and beautiful beaches. On behalf of Governor Ralph de Leon Guerrero Torres and the entire Republican Party of the CNMI, Madam Secretary, the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands is proud to cast its 9 votes for President Donald J. Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of this delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Northern Mariana Islands cast 9 votes, President Trump. Ohio, 82 delegates with the following bound delegates. 82, President Trump.
Madam Secretary, I stand for the state of Ohio. Birthplace of presidents, father of aviation, and mother of astronauts. Home to working men and women who appreciate a president that puts America first. A president who defends our brave law enforcement officers. I am Bob Paduchik, son of Anthony and Judy Paduchik, and I cast Ohio's 82 votes for Donald John Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Ohio cast 82 votes for President Trump. Oklahoma, 43 delegates with the following bound delegates. 43, President Trump.
Madam Secretary, and Steve Curry, Delegation Chair from the great state of Oklahoma, the state which proudly provides the Senate with its 2 great senators, Senator James Inhofe and James Lankford, who are strong advocates and defenders for our national defense and for the protection of unborn lives. The state which proudly and unapologetically supports our military and the thin blue line of police officers which devote their lives to protect and serve. The state where we understand the difference between peaceful demonstration and riots and looting. That freedom is not available to you if you can't go to your place of business or drive down the street without fear of being beaten. The state where its people recognize and hold dear the rights given to us by our Creator and not by government, yet enshrined for us in the Bill of Rights. which includes, among others, speech, press, religion, and the right for our own self-defense and the right to bear arms. The state in which all 77 counties voted for President Donald Trump in 2016 and will do so again in 2020. Madam Secretary, our chairman, David McClain, along with our National Committeewoman, Carolyn McClarty, delegates Pam Pollard and Charlie Potts, and the rest of our entire delegation cast its 43 votes for the current and next President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of the convention, Oklahoma cast 43 votes for President Donald J. Trump. Oregon, 28 delegates with the following bound delegates. 28, President Trump.
Madam Secretary, Oregon, a state with a proven pioneering tradition and breathtaking natural beauty, has benefited greatly from President Trump's America First policy over the last 3.5 years, resulting in more and better jobs and an improved economy for our citizens. In stark contrast to our failed governor and the feckless mayor of Portland, along with the Democrat presidential candidate in hiding, President Trump has stood up to the violent thugs and denounced those who seek to destabilize our state with anarchy and destruction, giving us hope that we can make Oregon safe again. And even though COVID-19 has reduced the size of this convention, it has not reduced our enthusiasm for renominating President Trump and Vice President Pence for 4 more years. The Oregon delegation believes that the best is yet to come and is therefore proud to cast all 28 of our votes for President Donald J. Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Oregon cast 28 votes for President Donald J. Trump. Pennsylvania, 88 delegates with the following bound delegates. 88, President Trump.
Madam Secretary, I'm Lou Barletta, Chairman of the Pennsylvania delegation. I'm honored to represent the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, also known as the Keystone State. As one of the first members of Congress to endorse then-candidate Donald Trump, Pennsylvania was the keystone that put Donald J. Trump in the White House with its electoral votes at 2 a.m. on election night, and we will do that again in 2020. I'm proud to cast Pennsylvania's 88 votes for the president that will make sure that we kneel when we pray and we stand for the flag, President Donald J. Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Pennsylvania cast 88 votes, President Donald Trump. Puerto Rico, 23 delegates with the following bound delegates. 23, President Trump.
Madam Secretary, I'm Kevin Romero, and I'm the youngest delegation chair in this great and historic convention. The territory of Puerto Rico and us, in representation of 3.2 million strong and resilient American citizens, and to express our gratitude to our president and our amazing nation, with a view of achieving statehood, equality, and our shared American prosperity, and reminding us all of the bloodshed and the sacrifice of hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans and all the patriots that have served our great American armed forces, we proudly cast all our 23 votes for President Donald J. Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Puerto Rico cast 23 votes, President Donald Trump. Rhode Island, 19 delegates with the following bound delegates. 19, President Trump.
Rhode Island, the ocean state where we like to make waves, as evidenced just yesterday by the hundreds of boats that cruised Narragansett Bay to rally for President Donald Trump. We have a long history of being rebels, from our founding on the basis of religious freedom to the independent man standing atop our state house. As the minority party in the smallest state, we carry on the tradition by standing up to the tyranny of 8 decades of one-party rule. We put forth common sense policies to help everyday Rhode Islanders who love coffee, milk, and doughboys, dip their clam cakes in chowder, celebrate the nation's oldest 4th of July parade, cherish our memories of Rocky Point, light the water on fire, and yes, we eat a lot of calamari Rhode Island style. We believe in promises made and promises kept, and we know that the best is yet to come. So the biggest little delegation of the state of Rhode Island proudly stands united to cast our 19 votes for President Donald J. Trump.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Rhode Island cast 19 votes, President Donald J. Trump. South Carolina, 50 delegates, bound for President Donald Trump.
Madam Secretary, I'm Henry McMaster, delegate and governor of the great state of South Carolina, where my wife Peggy and I are proud owners of 2 of Mike Lindell's pillars. South Carolina is also the home of the first in the South Republican primary, presidential primary. We were settled in 1670, and if Donald Trump had been around then, we'd have voted for him then. So today we proudly and happily cast all 50 of our votes for President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Thank you.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, South Carolina cast 50 votes, President Donald J. Trump. South Dakota. 29 delegates with the following bound delegates. 29, President Trump.
Madam Secretary, I am Kristi Noem. Be the first female governor of the great state of South Dakota. We have the beautiful Black Hills, the greatest pheasant hunting in the world, and we have Mount Rushmore, the most iconic monument in this nation, and it is honoring leaders that led this nation through challenging times. South Dakota is proud to be the home of Medal of Honor recipient, fighter pilot, and former Governor Joe Foss. We also are proud of the great Lakota leader, Sitting Bull, and author Laura Ingalls Wilder. In South Dakota, under God, the people rule. Our government respects people's rights. We love our freedoms. And we honor the men and women who have come before us to build this great nation. We are grateful to President Trump for bringing fireworks back to Mount Rushmore. He's brought jobs to our towns, and he puts America first each and every day. On behalf of South Dakota's 29 delegates, I proudly cast all of our votes for the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Madam Secretary, if there is no objection, the chair will call the next state to cast its vote. I will call on the great state of Florida to cast its vote for the Republican nominee for President of the United States.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Again, Joe Gruters, Chairman of the great state of Florida, home to over 21 million people, including our 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. We're known as the Sunshine State. We have the best beaches in the world. They're second to none. We have a great economy, and we have no income tax. We believe in the great American comeback, and we believe there's one leader that will deliver us prosperity once again, that will defend the rule of law, and that will bring great things back to our country. Florida is home to America's #1 anti-communist freedom-fighting Senator Marco Rubio. We're home to America's #1 senator in terms of the economy and jobs, and who's making Washington work for us again, Senator Rick Scott. And we're home to America's favorite governor, Ron DeSantis, who signed the toughest sanctuary city ban in the entire country. And he welcomes over 1,000 people a day from failed leadership states like New York, including individuals like our new favorite son, Donald J. Trump. It's for the 122 delegates that are back at home and the over 5 million Republicans that we have registered. And it is an honor for us to award Florida's 122 delegate votes to the next President of the United States to delay his full-time relocation back to his home state of Florida, Donald J. Trump, for the President of the United States.
Now, if you want to really drive him crazy, you say 12 more years. Because we caught them doing some really bad things in 2016. Let's see what happens. We caught them doing some really bad things. We have to be very careful because they're trying it again with this whole 80 million mail-in ballots that they're working on, sending them out to people that didn't ask for them. They didn't ask, they just get them. And it's not fair, and it's not right, and it's not going to be possible to tabulate, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. We have to be very, very careful. And you have to watch. Every one of you have to watch. Because bad things happened last time with the spying on our campaign, and that goes to Biden, and that goes to Obama. And we have to be very, very careful. Have to be very, very careful. And this time they're trying to do it with the whole post office scam. They'll blame it on the post office. You could see them setting it up. Be very careful and watch it very carefully, because we have to win. This is the most important election in the history of our country. This is the most, you know, for a long period of time, I would say, well, 2016, how special was that evening? Was that one of the great? That was one of the great evenings. But we have to be very, very careful, and we have to win. Our country is counting on it. This is the biggest. This is it. Our country can go in a horrible, horrible direction or in an even greater direction. And before the plague came in from China, that's where we were going. We were going in a direction like we had never seen. The most successful economy in the history of our country, the best unemployment numbers in history for African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, women, college students, bad students, good students, everybody. If you had a diploma, if you didn't have a diploma, it didn't matter, you were doing well. Everybody was doing well. And we were actually coming together. You know, success brings people together. Maybe better than anything else. Success brings people. So many times they say, we're divided. Well, we were very divided under President Obama. Very divided. People have no idea how divided. They didn't talk about it as much. They didn't say it as much. But we were really coming together. And I was speaking with Democrats all of a sudden because the success, the markets were at an all-time high. And by the way, take a look at what's happening with the markets. Take a look at your 401ks, which you probably do every hour. Take a look at your stocks. We're very close to breaking the record, and NASDAQ has already done it. You know, NASDAQ has broken the record, I think, 16 times already during a pandemic. Hopefully we'll call it the final phase of a pandemic. You know, Biden the other day said, no, he'd shut it down. He'd listen to some guy say, and he'd shut it down. We just broke a record on jobs, an all-time record. There's never been 3 months where we've put more people to work, over 9 million people. And again, we're just about ready to break the all-time stock market record. I mean, you look at it, we're just about ready to do it again. And what that means is everything else is going to follow. Very smart on Wall Street. Everything else is going to be there. The economy is coming up very rapidly. Our farmers are doing well. Our farmers are doing well because I got China to give them $28 billion because they were targeted by China. I got the farmers $28 billion, 16 and 12. That's why. So in spite of the pandemic, and our farmers did a great job in supplying food and all of the difficulties during this period of time, but we're getting ready to do things like nobody's ever seen before. But the best way to bring unity is success. Success brings unity, and we were there, and then we got hit with the plague. But we won't forget that. I just want to thank the people of North Carolina because, to be honest with you, I felt an obligation to be here. You have a governor who's in a total shutdown mood. I guarantee on November 4th, it'll all open up. It'll be fine, like most other states. On November 4th, you know, these Democrat governors, they love shutdown until after the election's over because they want to make our numbers look as bad as possible for the economy. But our numbers are looking so good. And frankly, I used to say a V, and people would say, well, maybe not. I don't think so. Some would say, no way. We have a super V. You're right. It's now looking like it's a super V. Our automobile numbers are incredible, both used cars and brand new cars. Our manufacturing numbers are incredible. We're putting a lot of manufacturing jobs to work that the previous administration said you'd need a magic wand. You'd need a magic wand for manufacturing jobs. I don't think so. I guess we had the magic wand, that's all. But we're putting them, again, we're putting them back. We're bringing them back. But think of your life just prior to the plague coming in. It was the best it's ever been. Your state had the best numbers they've ever had by far. And we had the best employment numbers also. We were up to 160 million jobs. We were never anywhere near that. And then we had to shut it down. We saved millions and millions of lives. We learned the enemy. We learned all about the invisible enemy, how it affects really people that are older, especially older people, the elderly, but older people with problems with heart, with diabetes, with other problems. And we learned, and most of the country is right now doing very, very well. They've done an incredible job. And to have a man sitting on television the other day say, oh, I'd shut it down. Oh, I'd shut it, like it's easy, shut it down. And by the way, when you shut it down, and we did the exact right thing, we shut it down, then we reopened, and that's what we're doing now. We're well into it. But if we didn't shut it down at that point, we would have had millions of people dead. Millions of people. You see the numbers. The job that Mike Pence and the task force and all of us together have done has been incredible, what we've done, what we've achieved. Whether it's ventilators, whether it's supplying equipment to governors that were totally ill-prepared. Many of the governors were totally ill-prepared. Nobody wants to say that, but it's supposed to work that way, Federalist. It's supposed to work that way. The governors are supposed to do it. Many of them did a fine job, and many of them came back well. But most of them didn't have the equipment that they should have had. Few of them had the ventilators, which are very, very complex machines and hard to make and hard to manufacture and expensive. And we're right now making thousands of ventilators a month, and we're sending them. We have all we can use. Our whole country, every state, we're stocked. We're stocked. And I always say it, I'll say it again. There's never been a person that needed a ventilator that didn't get a ventilator. Every single person that's ever needed a ventilator, with all that you've heard, with how much, they said we didn't have. Again, I took over a country whose military was depleted and whose cupboard on this front were bare. The cupboards were bare. We didn't have anything. We didn't have a thing. We had very, very little. And we did a great job. We haven't been given, and it's not for me, it's for the incredible people, the generals, the admirals, all of the doctors, the nurses. And yet you saw yesterday convalescent plasma. You saw remdesivir. You'll soon see vaccines pouring out years ahead of what they would have been under a more traditional, let's use that term because it's nicer, a more traditional administration, where they would have taken years to come up with this stuff. We're coming up with it like nobody's ever seen before. The FDA, Dr. Hahn, I want to thank him. Alex Azar, I want to thank him. They've come with things and done things that have never been done in terms of speed and, frankly, in terms of quality. If you look at what we're doing and what we're coming up with, drug companies are coming out with vaccines that are, I've seen some results already. It's going to be very, very soon. They're in stage 3 trials. It's unheard of. We wouldn't be there for 2 years if this were a more normal situation. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. And again, I felt an obligation to come to North Carolina. It's been a place that that's been very good to me. We won a lot of victories here. I haven't been doing this that long, but I won every chance I had in North Carolina. I even stole a great chief of staff, Mark Meadows, right? I stole him from North Carolina. And he left Congress as a very popular guy. Could have been there for a long time if he wanted, and he came in. And by the way, you have a fantastic young gentleman going to take his place. He's a fantastic young guy, and he's going to be a real star in the party. He's going to be a real star in the party. So I just want to thank everybody from North Carolina. And I do want to show a little bit of a difference, because another state that's been very good to me is Wisconsin. And Joe Biden was going to have their convention in Milwaukee. And they didn't go there at all. They didn't do this. We did this out of respect for your state. We didn't do this for any other reason other than respect for the state of North Carolina. Because we said we wanted to hold our convention in North Carolina. And I think you're going to remember that, frankly, on November 3rd. We wanted to hold our convention in North Carolina. So I did that out of respect. And if you had a governor that would have let us have some people. He actually told me this. We had an arena that holds 19,000 people. It was totally jammed, sold out. Every hotel was full, everything. And I called him. He said, but we have a shutdown going on. And according to the rules and regulations, now this is 19,000. He did say it. I don't think he'll deny it. But he said, according to the rules and regulations, the most people you're allowed to have in that room, meaning that arena, he viewed it as a room, is 10 people. I say, so Governor, so I'm at 19,000, you're at 10. Can we work something in the middle? And it didn't sound too good. So we really had no choice. It was a terrible thing, but I felt so badly because you could have, economic development money, all of the things that happened. But we decided, I was with Ronna, the vice president, everybody, Mark, and we said, let's have our big deal, the roll call. Let's have it right here, and let's do it. And I'm going to show up, and I'm not going to tell anybody. You know, until a few minutes ago, nobody knew I was coming. Right? Nobody knew I was coming. So, but what's more important than the roll call? You're the ones calling it. So what's more important? So, and I have to tell you, you know, we're going to do a lot of things. I'm just going to go over very briefly because we're going to make a speech on Thursday night. I hope you're all going to be listening. Because I came in and I'm on Air Force One, and Air Force One has more televisions than any plane in history. They've got them in closets. They've got them on ceilings, floors. They've got more television. You can't escape a television. And I turned to CNN, and they didn't have this. They weren't having it. Can you believe it? They didn't have it. No, CNN didn't have our roll call. Then I turned to MSDNC, as I call it. MSDNC, which is truly, it is a branch of the Democrats. That's right. It's a, I wouldn't say fully owned corporation, but it's certainly a fully controlled, or they control them. Nobody really knows who's controlling who. But, you know, they had it on television. I remember watching it, and it was interesting. You know, you see the different states, and we say this and we say that. The great state of Alaska, the great state of Alabama, the great state of North Carolina, the great state of all of them. And it's very interesting to me. They had theirs on, but they didn't show it. Instead, they're showing the scam because they're trying to show the post office so that when their whole mail-in thing fizzles, they'll try blaming it on the post office. Okay, so they're showing these hearings that are very boring, actually. And they're not showing this either. They weren't showing this. And Fox had it on, but unfortunately Fox wasn't showing it too much because they had the announcers talking. I said, I want to hear what they're saying. The delegates, I want to hear what they're saying. So I think we had to switch over to C-SPAN or to OAN or somebody. But I wanted to hear them. But I can promise you a few things. Number one, we will not be taking the word God out of the Pledge of Allegiance, okay? Like they did a number of times at their caucuses, so they took the word God out. I heard it. I was listening. I said, that's strange, you know, sort of weird. You've heard it all your life, right? Under God, under God. All of a sudden, those two words are missing. I said, oh, he must have made a mistake. He must have, maybe the teleprompter wasn't working, or his book wasn't working that I have right here. Something wasn't working. Must have made, but the problem was then the next day I heard it again. I said, that's not a mistake. That's pretty, and then they immediately went into a mode, no, we didn't mean that, no. We didn't say it for the convention. We didn't say it. No, that's where they're coming from. That's where they're coming from. You can say it or not say it. That is where they're coming from. Just like with energy, they don't want energy. Not working well in Texas, by the way. I just looked at a poll. And by the way, just came out that we have received 51% in the big and very important Rasmussen poll. And my numbers actually went up during the Democratic National Convention. 51%. So, think of it. Think of it. Thank you. I love this state. I like this place. And you're from all over the place, but this has been a good one for me. No, but think of it. So we're at 51% in Rasmussen. Do you read about it? Do you hear about it? You don't hear about it. They give you these suppression polls where they do registered voters instead of most likely. It's supposed to be likely. In other words, how about you? You're likely to vote. But how about you? You're registered, but I'm not voting. But see, under their plan, where they send these ballots, you don't have to want to vote. You get the ballot,
and then they have harvesting. They get guys to go, do you want to vote? No, not really, but I have a ballot. All right, good. Who's it for? Sleepy Joe Biden. I'll put it here, son. Okay, could I have it? And they'll take it. In fact, harvesting is illegal in your state. They wanted to put a Republican, fine man, a pastor, they wanted to put him in jail because he harvested. Now they want to make harvesting legal all of a sudden. They'll put him in jail as a Republican, right? If he was a Democrat, they wouldn't even be thinking about it. In California, they do the same thing. No repercussion. In North Carolina, you had a fine pastor, a fine man, and they got him on harvesting. They wanted to put him in jail. And now they want to make it all so that everybody can harvest, because they know it's not a good thing. So people that don't want to vote are going to be sitting there. They'll be making them, if you talk about 80 million ballots, it's 80 million, could even be higher than that. I used to say 51 million, now it's 80 million. They said, sir, you're a little obsolete with the 51. I said, all right, what is it? 80. I said, 80? How is it possible to think of it? They'll be sending them, they'll be dumping them in neighborhoods, they'll be, people are going to be picking them up, they'll be bribing, they'll be paying off people to grab some. This is going to be one of the greatest scams, and it's common sense. This has nothing to do with politics. It's common sense. Anybody, you don't have to know politics. They're going to mail out 80 million ballots. It's impossible. They have no idea. Who's mailing them? Mostly Democrat states and Democrat governors. Well, supposing they don't mail them to Republican neighborhoods, that means they're not going to get them. So they're going to complain, and the election's going to be over, and then they're going to complain, and then they'll say, oh, well, we didn't get it. Big deal. In the meantime, you might lose the election. This is the greatest scam in the history of politics, I think, and I'm talking about beyond our nation. And they act like they're aggrieved. Like by saying this, we're saying such a horrible thing. We're not patriotic by saying this. No, we voted during World War I. We voted at the voting booth during World War II. The pandemic, we're doing very well, and people know how to handle it. Look at the crowds. They're doing very well. It's very safe. It's going to be very safe. If you have an absentee ballot where you request it, we're all in favor of that. Absentee, like in Florida.
That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. The Republican National Convention continues tonight on Channel 11. Our next newscast is tonight at 5, and you can get breaking news updates anytime on our streaming apps. Just search WPXI on Apple TV, Roku, or Amazon Fire. Have a great day.
Going on your vacation, Barney.
It's the summer of